My name is Sina. In case you can't see me, that's actually me. I'm a digital strategist. And if you haven't detected the accent, I'm actually German. I've been around in Australia for 3 years now. Lived in the US and in France before this. And I call myself a business person. So I have an MBA by education. I'm a marketer at heart. And I also love technology and data. So I hope this qualifies me to talk a little bit about business transformation from a digital angle particularly. And I work at Yoke. So Yoke is a strategic consultancy delivering creative and digital communication solutions. And everything we do, and here are just a few examples, needs to live up to the idea of creative intelligence. We need creative intelligence to drive business transformation. So, not to fill you with an hour of TED Talk, that's not my aim of introducing this panel. I just want to have a few slides to prompt the current state of business transformation, particularly from a digital angle. And I want to challenge your way of thinking about digital business transformations and also say that it's not actually that hard. You might be surprised in me saying that, but I really mean it. So I believe that we all live in this world of constant growth, change, Silicon Valley, startups. It's exciting to be part of this innovative world, but a lot of businesses are lagging dramatically behind. So the first group of businesses out of 3 that I'm going to sort of walk you through, I call the laggards. Because I'm German and we're known to be quite harsh, I will also call them the dead. So the group of dead businesses are dramatically behind in implementing any innovation. They're part of these 67% of Australian businesses that just don't have the right culture in place to even start thinking about innovation from any angle. So, dear dead businesses, I've got some news for you. We have to start innovating because the world around us is changing and we start consuming things like media in a digital format. What I find also shocking in my profession is that the laggards of the world just don't innovate and start having this problem of be disrupted if they don't disrupt themselves. Also, as I introduced, I'm a big fan of data. The laggards of the world are scared of data. They don't know how to access it, they don't know how to analyze it, and particularly don't know how to act from any insights that you can gain through data. And let me ask you here in the room, when was the last strategy that you didn't have a measurement plan around, no technology to actually capture some of the user behavior? You don't really know what goal you're working towards, and you just simply have a good idea, do it, and never look about the outcomes of it in a data way. So let's move on to the second group of businesses, the try-hards. So I believe I've met a lot of ambitious people throughout my career with a fantastic vision that I find very inspiring. The reason the try-hards are also the barely surviving is that actions are a lot better than words. While vision is essential to have and drives what we're going to achieve as businesses, we also need to implement those and to get some help around us to actually fill up some of the resource and knowledge gaps to drive innovation. It is a digital jungle out there. Things are changing. New things come around the corner all the time. So it is essential to keep on growing yourself, attending events like this, self-education, and we can't just rely on things happening in the innovation curve without us actually proactively going out there and seeking that. But let's not forget some of the basics as well. The 101 business basics of branding in the digital space is shocking in Australia. There are so many examples of brands that we love as users and consumers. We go online, and if we find any presence at all, we're having a terrible user experience. I'm being quite harsh here, but it is the reality of things that the digital space gets neglected in implementing a lot of the ideas that businesses have, which are really great. So to get back to the point of how do we actually become from being barely surviving tryhards to the third group of businesses, I believe we need to stay hungry. We need to keep on learning. And just as a few ideas, and talking from my personal experience, I did an MBA here in Melbourne, and I believe the word digital was mentioned about 4 times. I find that scary. If the leaders or the next generation of leaders in education is not actually being educated for the world that we live in. There are some more agile education providers. I'm involved with General Assembly as just one example. And there are universities that are trying to shape and becoming a lot more involved with industry experts that are closer to these topics. And it is a responsibility that we as industry experts have to give back some of the knowledge that we are fortunate to gain and working throughout our experiences. So let's move on to the third group, the savvy operators. I also call them the thriving. So the thriving are the ones that are doing. They're not just trying, they're also doing. They're failing and they're trying again. They're the ones that have a vision and implement it in the best way to actually become a reality. They're also humble and they learn. They're also not afraid to sometimes just go back 3 spaces. And one example that I want to talk you through, which I'm sure we'll have more in the panel discussion, is to actually challenge the status quo. What about your business model in the online space? We all know Airbnb has changed the way we book accommodation. eBay has changed the way purchases are made. Netflix has changed the way we watch television. So I challenge everyone to not be afraid to go back 3 spares and just think about, is actually what I do, my 40, 50-year-old business model, still applicable in the online space? So have a robust strategy and the right technology and drive innovation. As a last thought to sort of introduce the panel as well, I believe in measurement and data and things going up and down, but we need to start having a shared language with the entire businesses. In my little niche of digital marketing, I'm sure Scott will be able to relate to this. We talk about these click-through rates, whole budget spend, more keywords, cost per click, bounce rate. But if we stay in this sort of nerdy language and metric system, we are failing to translate our innovative ideas to other business decision makers. So I need to start talking the right metrics. I need to start talking average customer value, revenue, number of customers, customer satisfaction, cost, and start really being able to translate my ideas to business decision makers. Also, I'm not afraid to use the nasty word profit. This is when all the puzzle pieces come together and we're actually creating value and we're able to tuck away some of that growth to reinvest in innovative ideas. I can stand here a lot longer and talk, but I won't. So feel free to have some further reading on some of these ideas on our blog. And I thank you, and I'll hand over to Tony for some more ideas before we start discussing.
Thanks, Sina. Hello. Oh.